pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Almighty and everlasting God, who presides over all things in heaven and earth, come and preside over these deliberations so that those that make the decisions may be guided by your wisdom.
Thank you. Welcome, everyone, to the May 8th meeting of Wilkes-Barre City Council. Will the clerk call the roll, please?
Mr. Barrett?
Here.
Mr. Belishko?
Here.
Mr. Marin?
Here.
Mrs. McClay?
Here.
Mr. Brooks?
Here.
Also in attendance is Mayor George Brown. Here. Administrator Charles McCormick. Here. Assistant City Attorney Maureen Collins. Assistant City Clerk Tracy Smith, and Administrative Assistant Lisa Sanfilippo. Good evening. Welcome to tonight's regular session of Council. Please turn off all cell phones. Following are some examples of some important Council rules. They are not intended to be a complete list. Please adhere as closely as possible to the 5-minute speaker presentation time limit. No persons are allowed to address the Council from beyond the rail except the speaker at the dais who has the floor. Chairperson shall preserve order and decorum and prevent attacks on personalities. Chairperson shall determine all points of order. No persons except city officers or their representatives shall be permitted within the rail during any meeting without the express permission of council. Council kindly asks the public please vacate the building within 10 minutes after the meeting adjourns. And members of the administration, when you're speaking, please use the microphone.
Okay, we have two resolutions on the agenda and an ordinance. Is there anyone from the public that wish to speak on the pending legislation? The ordinance, yes, sir, Mr. Troy.
Talk about a bare bones agenda. Anyway, I just have a comment on the ordinance. Mr. Barrett, as I understand, proposed this. I wonder if Mr. Barrett or somebody could explain how this is going to be enforced. Now this may, I just think it's a, I mean, that's why you have meetings, I guess, and public comment to discuss any specifics of it. I wonder if any other municipalities have this sort of thing. And I think the most critical issue you have to ask is not just how is this good, are you going to have, do you plan, assuming this thing is passed, in your mind, would you have policemen sitting near intersections that, I mean, not intersections, but areas that where people do cut across regularly and wait for somebody to violate, or they just happen to notice? I mean, it seems to me this thing is almost unenforceable, and it's rather trivial. You know, I'm sorry to disagree with you. Maybe you can explain that, unless somebody else could. And the real thing here is, I was driving down South Street today. I'm not getting away from the subject. I just want to mention something. I think this might divert. If you plan to have policemen sitting there, let's say it's somewhere in the public square that they're cutting across, or there's a place on Main Street there that seems to be a favorite. What's the name of it? I forgot. Anyway, there is such an ordinance intact now, and you want to increase the fine? Is that it? I think that's what we're talking about here. I wonder how many citations the department has given out for this over the past since this was enacted. And if it, to some extent, if it's trivializing, diverting, I think, I mean, if you plan to have, I guess businessmen were complaining about this to the city. Is that why this came about? You guys never explain anything. But if you're going to divert, I'm back to this point, divert attention from, police attention from something else to this sort of thing, I think it's wrong. For instance, today I was driving, as I started to say, I was driving down South Street, right from the South Street Bridge towards Main Street, and I was maybe 5 feet behind another car, and another car behind me, some maniac, swerves around me, and the light was green on Main and South Street, cuts in front of me. I guess he's afraid of not making a light. Cuts in front of me, and I don't know how he avoided hitting me. And proceeds I was a little bit aggravated, to tell you the truth. You don't want road rage, right? That's where you should have your laws. Is there a law against road rage? I guess if it gets violent. But if you're diverting police attention from enforcing, I see scoff laws all over the place. People running red lights, people running stop signs. I saw a guy running against the one-way on Washington Street here. I'm just telling you this to make a point. There are other priorities that I think, as I said, if you're going to have police hand out citations for this, I think it's more important to focus on other things, on other aspects of crime. And crime in some areas of the city, every time, it's getting out of hand, especially the violent crime. So if you're diverting police attention away from other things to this, I think it's wrong. As I started to say, I only had a little bit of time left. I was coming down Washington Street one day, and all right, we're right near the police station. And this guy was going against the one-way, and I blew my horn. This guy got aggravated, and he starts chasing after me. And he was like 5 feet tailgating me. I finally got out of the car. I don't know if I would have committed violence because I would have maybe been thrown in the slammer, right? Cited. But I got out of the car and he ran off. But, I mean, why can't, I know the cops can't watch everything. I know that. But why, something like that is certainly more important than having somebody cut across private property. That's all I got to say. I'm very disappointed in general that there's a bare agenda here, like a bare bones budget. We got a bare bones agenda because I think the city has plenty of problems. So thank you.
All right, if I may.
You don't even have to answer. I mean, I just wondered.
Oh, I'm going to. This is going to be treated by the police, I'm sure, no different than any other traffic violation that they may have. If they witness this and they want to act on it, they can. Just as if somebody goes through a traffic light or stop sign. I'm not the police chief, so I don't plan on asking them to go out and do a campaign against this, but I did speak to the police administration about how this would work. As you know, they use in-car computers to generate traffic citations, not like the old days where we used to write out a ticket. That's gone. The system that they have is very capable of issuing this particular violation, just as they would for any other traffic violation. It's no different. I don't expect them to treat it any differently, but it is just another tool in their arsenal for traffic enforcement should they choose to use it. If they don't choose to use it, that's fine. As I mentioned previously, I mentioned it on Tuesday, I would wish that nobody did this, just as we wish that nobody run through traffic signals and stop signs and everything else for speed, but they do. They do, and this is just a tool that our patrol officers can use should they choose to, if there's a problem or something is going on, or they witness this particular violation just as they would any other traffic violation. I don't expect them to treat it any differently than, as you just alluded to, speeding or going through traffic lights or those types of things. It's no different. The only difference is it happens to be a city ordinance and not a state statute. When we first passed it in 2008, the fine was very minimal, and we felt that it should be increased because of the seriousness of this type of violation and the risk it poses to others. That's why I asked that this council consider raising the fine to a more appropriate level. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Barrett. Anyone else on pending legislation? Thank you. Move to the consent agenda.
Okay, we need a motion and a second on the consent agenda, which is 2 resolutions and 3 minutes there.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Belishko,
Second.
second by Mr. Barrett. Mr. Barrett?
Yes.
Mr. Belishko?
Yes.
Mr. Marin?
Yes.
Mrs. McClay?
Yes.
Mr. Brooks?
Yes.
And then we need a motion and a second on file of council number 3 of 2025, which is an ordinance amending Article 11 of Chapter 29 of the Wilkes-Barre City Code of Ordinances titled Driving Across Private Property and Public Property Not Designed or Intended to be a Thoroughfare Access to Avoid Traffic Signal Control Device or Intersection. Motion and a second.
Motion.
Motion by Mrs. McClay,
Second.
second by Mr. Marin. Mr. Barrett?
Yes.
Mr. Belishko?
Yes.
Mr. Marin?
Yes.
Mrs. McClay?
Yes.
Mr. Brooks?
Yes. Council presentations, Councilman Belishko.
Nothing more since Tuesday, Tom.
Councilman Barrett?
Same here, nothing since Tuesday, sir. Thank you.
Councilman Marin?
Yes, I want to bring up, like a broken record, Stanton Lanes again. Nothing, it doesn't seem like anything's been done there. I know a few cars have been moved, but the building's still in horrific shape. It's probably one of the worst conditioned buildings in the city. I mean, I don't know if anybody here has been past there, but it's pretty bad. So, I mean, I'm tired of looking at it, and so are the residents. So hopefully we can get something resolved there. That's all I have for today.
Councilwoman McClay?
Yep, just a few things. So I know the food truck ordinance passed in March, so that for the April inspections. Can I get an updated list of the food trucks that were inspected in April? Is that something that you can get to me, or something I should reach out to zoning about? Because I've seen a few new ones pop up already. Then the other thing I have, so going down the boulevard where the food trucks are, there is a food market there. It's Market TNC. It's like a little flea market. Is that zoned to be there? Not zoned to be there? Is it allowed to be there? And then the utility cut on Main Street, is that scheduled to be fixed? And that's all I got.
We believe that the marking you're talking about is we believe that what you're talking about is a place where you could pick up things when you're stopping there, something to eat, and it's on private property. So that's something that we're looking into.
Okay.
And Mr. Marin, we did send out a second set of letters. Okay, the first set, we sent out, I believe it was 15 letters, and the majority of those did address the issues. Most of it was graffiti. The ones that did not address it, we sent out a second set of letters, and then we'll take action.
Okay.
Okay?
All right, thank you.
Sure.
We're done. Okay.
Good.
And for me, I want to bring up yet again, the light at South River and Ross Street. I was coming down South River Street, another near accident. Someone just went right through to beat the light, and because that light changes in 1 second, if you're coming on Ross Street going towards South River, if you're coming fast, not standing still, you're not stopped, you're already going. Well, you see the light's green, so you slam on the gas. The other car was going so fast, thank God it actually was going fast, because the other guy nearly would have clipped him in the back. So this is yet a continual problem. This is the traffic light, but your sister, that thankfully she wasn't hurt that badly, but I know the car was pretty much totaled. I request if we can do a 2-second instead of a 1-second delay. I just constantly see near misses at this traffic light. And yet again, I want to bring up two properties. There are two properties which were stellar, absolutely perfectly restored historic houses. One was actually restored. The other one was always perfect since it was built in 1895, 28 West South Street and 58 West River Street. They are utter disasters right now. I know I've reported 28 West South Street many times. What really upsets me now about 28 West South Street is the guy did cut his backyard. He decided to mow down all the prize peonies that the former owner had. And this woman who owned this house was the daughter-in-law, get this folks, the daughter-in-law of Edward Wells, who built City Hall in 1893. It's amazing, it was only 2 generations. I know the person can certainly mow their backyard and they don't have to keep these prize-winning peonies. But you already have a lawnmower, why don't you do the front of your yard, which is just this high of dandelions and weeds all over the place. I don't know if they're the same owner or not. I didn't get a chance to look it up. 58 West River Street. The sidewalk has never been cleaned since the guy purchased the property. Probably that was last fall. Never raked any of his leaves. The sidewalk is a disaster, and it's just really sad. These were 2 absolutely perfectly manicured houses, beautiful historic homes that are now look horrible because they're just not kept. I don't know who owns them. I don't know if it's I think it's perhaps an out-of-town person, but I really hope you can look into them. Yesterday, we went out for coffee. We heard from a neighbor across the street on the corner complain about West South Street. Across the street neighbor has been complaining to me constantly about 58 West River Street. So please look into those two properties as well. Okay, enough of that. Let's move on to public discussion. Angel Mathis. I hear parking and...
Angel Mathis, Wilkes-Barre. I'm gonna approach the first thing first because then the second thing gets a little bit crazy. Okay, parking. Parking from, I would say, Hazel Street on Stanton Street. The parking from Hazel Street to a little past Erie Street to the no parking area of Stanton Street is horrendous. When you're coming up from Hazel to Loomis, it's filled all the way to the corner, even in the yellow zone.
You mean Stanton, right?
Stanton, yes. When you go from Stanton
Right.
to Loomis. Is it Loomis? Yeah.
Yeah, from Hazel.
From Hazel.
Stanton, yeah, to Loomis, cars are literally parked from corner to corner. Someone's gonna die there. Because on Loomis, they're parked from corner to corner. And the problem that I see is the fact that we only have parking enforcement so many hours of the day. So when parking enforcement closes, everyone lose their mind and say, hey, we're gonna park any way we want to. And the thing about it is, you have those who double park because they're too lazy. No, they're too lazy to look for a parking spot. And then it leaves one lane because it's two-lane parking, lane on each side, two-way traffic.
Right.
So when they're parked in the middle, whether you're going either direction, that leaves one lane for both ways to go through. Like I said, a lot of it happens after parking enforcement close. It's like, City Hall's open? No problem. It gets dark? Good luck. And that goes all the way down to almost Cedar. And if you're familiar with Stanton, after Erie, it's only like a few feet, and then it's no parking
On that side of it.
on that side until you get to Grove. Well, they just park right through there, they park on the sidewalk, so it gets a little bit hairy. And I know it's not only that area that has the problem, so, and I know this is a bad time to even ask, have you ever considered extending parking enforcement past at least 2 or 3 hours past what they have? And I know it's a budgetary issue, so I'm not sure where that would go. But my second issue, which I ask every time I come up here and grace your presence, the Trump cuts, because I'm really, really anxious about the way our country and cities and our country, cities, and states are being reshaped by people who don't know exactly how bureaucracy works. And it's a lot of programs we're going to lose. And it's a lot of people who are going to be hurt, and there's a lot of people who actually will die. And I'm not doing it out of hyperbole, but they will die out of the cuts and the decisions that's being made by Washington. Is there any update? You know, how are we with the health department? Has anything come in from housing? And are you still looking into community gardens? Because at the end of the day, you know, our people still have to be housed, our people still have to be fed, and they still have to be cared for.
Your first point, I'm trying to visualize it right now. Are there yellow lines to the
Yes.
corners? So they're violating those yellow lines at Stanton and Loomis, right? I know we recently got some yellow lines at Stanton and Cedar, where Maureen Snyder lives, right? That little
little
alley
alley.
there, and we put a sign up there. All right, so this is, yellow lines are already there, they're just ignoring the yellow lines on those corners. All right, we'll look into that. I don't know if you have any comments about Trump cuts or not. Do you? Okay.
Hi, Angel.
Hello.
You're absolutely right. There are proposed cuts in some of the grants that we received, especially Health Department. And contrary to what some people believe, the Health Department is a department that provides a lot of services throughout the city of Wilkes-Barre and actually outside the city of Wilkes-Barre. So some of the grants that we received may be cut. Because of that, we had a meeting with Congressman Brezhnev in my office last week. He came in with his staff, and we told him about the possible cuts in grants to the Health Department, also possible grants and cuts to the through HUD, which is our OCD, CDBG budget, and then the BRIC program that might be eliminated through FEMA. They're the three things that we addressed with the congressman. Friday, I had the regional representative for Senator McCormick in my office talking about the same three things, Angel, okay? And the rest of the people here. Talked about, once again, the cuts to the Health Department, the proposed cuts to HUD, and the proposed BRIC program, FEMA elimination. So both our congressman and our senator are both aware of what it means to the city of Wilkes-Barre. So we were very open, very honest about that. And Hank Radulski, the head of the Health Department, spoke. Joyce Dukoski, who is in charge of our CDBG, she spoke. Jay Delaney spoke about the FEMA program. And then Chief Coffey spoke about earmark funds. So we did speak at length, as I said, with the congressman, and also I had a one-on-one with the regional person for Senator McCormick. So believe me, we are very concerned about it. The city provides so much services, and those services, if those funds are cut, will be reduced, because we cannot afford to do that. Okay, so we're on it, Angel.
Okay. You forgot something, though. RSVP.
Pardon me?
RSVP?
RSVP?
Or something.
Oh, for the,
Yeah.
all right.
Oh, I guess we weren't invited.
I kind of slipped.
Tony, I get invited every year because I danced with the ladies.
All right. Oh, I'm jealous.
Right, Angel? Right?
Okay. Mr. Troy?
I'm usually last.
Well,
First,
we do it in order.
number of items on the agenda. I wonder if I can get a couple extra minutes. I guess it's not possible. God forbid we should allow anybody to enhance their presentation and input into improving the city. Anyway, just to reiterate, I'm a little disappointed that we have such a bare bones agenda with all the problems. Well, you guys do admit that there are problems in the city, right? Even the mayor would admit to that. Maybe we could do that for homework for the next meeting, is list all the problems that you think the city has and what priority they should have and how they could be rectified. And I could give you a couple examples, as I usually do. But let me just start with something else. The lot on where the Sterling is, the Sterling lot. I think that is an abomination. I can remember the day, I don't know if you can, Mayor Brown. I was raised, of course, I'm a little older than you, not much, but Public Square used to be a diamond, just beautiful. I don't think it's that way any longer, and the Sterling was just added to the enhancement of the aesthetic beauty of the downtown and the whole area and all the neighborhoods. And I think it's pitiful that is emblematic, that Sterling lot is emblematic of how the city has deteriorated. You look at that lot and those cars parked on that lot and all the sinkholes and whatever in there, what is going to be done? And let me just ask you straight, I don't know if you want to answer this or maybe somebody on council can answer, but don't we have, the city did give up its reversionary clause for that, right? So are we safe to say that that lot is going to be sitting there in that condition ad infinitum till we're all dead and buried, or what? And the same with the lot in Northampton and Maine. Can't the city go forward and do something to take some initiative and get that property back from Stilla, even though the reversionary clause is dead, right? Am I correct in that assumption, or don't you know? There was a reversionary clause when that deal was made, before, I think, Mayor Brown got in office. But Mayor Brown, as far as I remember, did away with it, and council voted it down. Is that correct? And the city does not have any choice now. That property is sitting there in horrible, abominable condition forever and ever. And I guess the same with Maine and Northampton, even though it's switched, owners now are different, and we've lost some historical property there. I know I probably won't get any answers on that. I'm also looking forward to a controller's report to make it official. I'm going to keep pressing that. I know, just like the Wilkes-Barre School District is, I think it's imperative that at least once a month the controller come forward and talk about the financial pulse of the city. I'm very disappointed also. Moving on now because of the limited time. The city, I mentioned this to Councilman Belusco. And a few others. The city has, and Chairman Brooks, city and the mayor. I talked to your staff, Mayor. I don't know if they're conveying this to you. There is no. Why are you and everybody else so reluctant to go forward? At least look into this business of adopting the Homestead and Farmstead Exclusion Act, so that the taxes in the city. And as I indicated to you, as far as I know, it's revenue neutral. I asked Dr. Pashinsky about it. I have not got an answer yet. So what you can do is direct Maureen or Tim Henry, I don't think they're that overwhelmed with work, that they could look into this and see if it is or is not revenue neutral. And even if it is not revenue neutral, I think it could be compensated in some way. But as far as I know, it's revenue neutral, which means it wouldn't cost the city anything. The assessments of the homes would be reduced, therefore the taxes on the homes would be reduced. This is gambling money, by the way. The source is gambling money. So that, I think, wouldn't that be a good thing? To relieve the taxpayers of a financial burden? You don't seem to be too open to this idea in any way, Mr. Brown. The deadlines are there.
We're going to answer you when you're done.
I'm talking now, right?
When you're done, we will answer your question about the homestead.
I have one more point. Very disappointed. What I call a scam, this WVSA business. I raised this to Councilman Belusco because he's on the board. I see they're going to adopt the minutes here from that. I'd like to see a copy of those minutes, Kathy, if you get a chance. I mean, not today, but to see why Luzerne County, the municipalities in Luzerne County, the only county to pay this stormwater fee in all of Pennsylvania, as far as I know, and New York State and Maryland. Go ahead, Mayor Brown, I'm sorry.
So, in relation to the homestead exemption, Sam, you asked at the last council meeting, you directed me to talk to Tim Henry. I did talk to Tim Henry. He did.
Oh, you talked to Tim Henry?
Yes, he did. He did do this research. You are correct about the gaming money going to the school district. The gaming money, the tax.
Correct about what? I'm sorry, I don't have my hearing aid.
You're saying that it's the casino tax revenue that would reduce our taxes. Yes, that reduces your school property taxes. So, for example, I get a $450 reduction in my taxes from that on my school taxes. While it is legal for us to do it in the city, it's not revenue neutral. We would not get that money from the casino tax revenues. It would have to come out of our budget. So for example, and I believe it was Pittston has done it, they raised taxes to accommodate that. They raised their realty transfer tax and they raised their income tax.
But they adopted it.
They did, and they can do it. So it is legal for us to do it, but you would have to find where would we make up that revenue to do it. And there is no appetite to raise income taxes or the realty's transfer tax. Mr. Mayor?
I'd like to know more.
You're right. You have to raise the earned income tax.
Right.
I don't think you want us to raise taxes, do you, Sam? So you're going to benefit on the school taxes? That's not what we want to do. We don't want to do that, okay? But secondly, you asked about some of the areas in the city, and you did not have a very positive feeling about the city, the way it's going. Well, the city's going in an amazing direction, whether you believe me or not. First of all, Public Square. Public Square is a beautiful park. And we just had students from the Wilkes-Barre area technical school that planted a lot of new flowers in the planters, which will be blooming. It's going to be a beautiful part of that park. We have concerts on the square with 6,000 people that attend. I think it's beautiful, and people are there every day. We have the Farmers Market, Fine Arts Fiesta. If it wasn't beautiful, they wouldn't be holding these things on public square. Secondly, there is development happening in the area of Northampton and South Main Street. I cannot tell you about it right now because I'm not at liberty to do that. There's other development that's going to be happening in the city of Wilkes-Barre, and I cannot tell you about that either because...
Why not?
Because the proper paperwork has not been submitted nor signed. It's things that we are working on, but I'm not at liberty to tell you or anyone else about it because it hasn't been finalized. But Sam, this year is going to be an amazing breakout year for the city of Wilkes-Barre. It's going to be a year that you're going to look back on next year and say, I didn't believe that Mayor Brown guy when I went to council, but guess what? It happened. And that's going to happen, Sam, because it's a great year coming up. And even though no matter what we put forth, you're negative about, this is going to be a very positive year for us. And some of the things that are happening in developments are going to be very positive. So that's my answer to you.
I didn't say it was, can I respond to that, or?
Nope, you're 5 minutes up. Mr. Gagatek.
Well, Kathy said yes. Oh,
No, he said no.
Good, you're next.
Don't try that one.
Kathy's the boss.
You'll lose every time, Sam. You don't want my opinion.
Hi, Tom Gagatek. All this relates to a lot of our parking problems and all, excuse me, I think it all relates to the same thing with people cutting through the lots, police trying to do their best job and see what happens at the time and they take care of it. But a lot of it relates to me, to safety items. And I mention almost every time I come here, which I started coming more frequently. I want to start coming to September, but had some family issues, which we still have. But anyhow, the e-bikes and scooters. Every place I go, over the Market Street Bridge, Public Square, South Main Street, coming up here today, coming towards the square, there's somebody going down from Northampton Street, no helmet, going as fast as he could, in the middle of the road. Cars are behind them. It creates problems. But as we said before, probably the state does not have regulations on it, whether to be licensed or insured, and why not? And they're careless. And also relating to this nice lady said, the parking, this is everywhere. It's almost the same people I see all the time doing it. There are blank spaces on one side of, let's say, South Franklin Street, close to Franklin, or Ross Street. There's parkings over here, and they're putting their four-ways on, just stop. And you blow the horn at them, they just look at you.
Yep.
With the four-ways on. And it creates a problem if there's with the traffic flow, okay? So that's that item. But I think it really relates to safety, all of these issues. Cutting through the lots, it aggravates people who are trying to do the right thing. The traffic light speeds, it all relates, I think. And I think I saw something on whatever channel it was on the TV. Our governor signed some kind of a law that'll take effect in June about cell phone use, distracted driving in June. Now, as I expressed to you one time, I'm coming home from the gym one time, there they are parking, and it's these people who moved here from other places, I think. Jersey, South Philly. You know, this is probably getting to be a branch of South Philly, I guess, right? But they park underneath the signs where it says no parking this side. Put their four-ways on, and you have to stop and go around them, and they look at you to smirk, you know, it aggravates. And it's not safe, but we only have so many police, and as we know, we have a problem, police struggling to fill the ranks everywhere. And you can't use a phone to pull over and you yell at somebody, sooner or later it's going to be some kind of disaster. Somebody's get mad and say, you know, throw something, hurt something. This happens all the time. Shootings. We're getting like Hazleton was, till it calmed down a little bit with the people who weren't used to things. I want to get to you there. You're smiling at me.
No.
I came down River Street the other day.
We both talk with our hands, that's all.
Okay. Just for the hell of it, I saw the gate was open into the Wilkes-Barre Cemetery. And as you stated a while back, 2 or 3 council meetings back, I could not believe the condition at Wilkes-Barre Cemetery. Civil War stones and different things collapsed, falling over. Branches laying in the road going into it. You can't even drive. I had to turn around in the grass and turn around. I couldn't believe what I saw. Why isn't it upkept? If it's the Wilkes-Barre Cemetery, who takes care of it?
City.
Good point. It's historical. I couldn't believe some of the markers are from the Civil War, as you stated. And I think that's a bad situation. Changing all that for parking, but I think the main thing is the safety. Now, the other thing I like to mention is, I mentioned to Tony, about Tony with the cemetery. You're doing a good job with those situations, and I like to help out if I could, but it's hard for me to do things. I do things with one of the organizations from Hanover Township and Plymouth. Quality of life regulations. Back in September, when I was going to start the plan of coming here, had a list of different quality of life from the Citizens Voice paper. Who enforces these quality of life items? The neighbor who complains about the neighbor and they get pissed off at him? Who enforces these things? All these different things which we know, high weeds, putting your trash cans out front, failure to remove snow and ice. I know some of these people that move into the area in my neighborhood from out of town, they never clean their snow or ice off the sidewalks. And I see how many people on the street that I live on, was a beautiful street at one time, still is, but not the same. People can't walk down the street. They walk in they can't walk down the sidewalk because they don't clean in the wintertime. They walk in the street, another issue. And the high weeds, all these different things causes different situations, but I just wonder, quality of life, we have so many people in the city working and shorthanded. Who takes care of the quality of life violations? The health department? So if I see something that I don't like, I call the health department, like Rich Lewis or Hank or whatever, and they do what they could, but these are consistent. And a lot of these things regulate, making a joke here, maybe a lot of people cutting through these lots, they go someplace faster to avoid the light, they're trying to get to a food truck. Are they regulated? By who? Health department? Restaurants are regulated by the health department. How about the food trucks? Who regulates them and how often? Some of them I looked at, I don't think I'd ever want to eat from them.
Okay, Tom.
I think I'm done. Thank you.
Yep, thanks. All right, you got me a big list here. Let me check a few. I'll check a few of the things off. Cemetery.
That cemetery,
Not only Civil War, even
Other people.
even Revolutionary War. My triple great-grandparents are there.
Really?
Mayor Brown has done a wonderful thing by recruiting people, and he has created a cemetery committee who have been restoring monuments, cleaning up monuments. Now, our guys cut the grass, right? They don't cut the grass. They're doing a wonderful job. If you'd like to help out, you're more than welcome to help us. It's a lot of work, but I think since the mayor has been in office, that cemeteries look a lot better than I've ever seen it over the last decade. 2, Health Department quality of life. Yes, it is the Health Department. Tom, I get a couple calls every day from people who complain about their neighbors. They call me, I call the City Hall, and then they are usually rectified within, it depends on when I call, but within less than 24 hours to 1 day, depends on when I report it. You, of course, can report it yourself, the numbers on the back of the city calendar. Food trucks, yes, food trucks are regulated with this ordinance that we just passed by the Health Department. E-bikes, I think you were looking into them. I'm going to look at you.
So we are, so.
Especially with summertime here, my God, I mean, the traffic and people zipping across the intersections without stopping and.
Okay.
Yeah, we are going to start to put something in place for the e-bikes, but it is a lot of work because there's different classifications for each bike. So it's going to take a little longer than we would like, but we are working on it.
Good. Okay. Any comments from you?
Okay, that's what I had there.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you, Tom.
Okay.
And you're welcome all the time. We like input. You're always welcome.
That's why I'm here.
That's right. Thank you, sir. Any other comments? Good. All right, we'll see you next council meeting is May 22nd. A combined session.
Enjoy yourself.
Thank you.
You're going away, you're lucky.
Yep.
There's some raindrops on the window there. Oh, that noise.